all saying the same. You're saying, right? You're saying the same thing. But it's interesting though that you guys took the angle of I disagree somewhat, and you guys took the angle of I agree somewhat. But basically, if you explained it, if I'm understanding, you're pretty much saying the same thing. It's interesting, yeah.
I feel like you can change it more than it stays the same. Like that's why this time.
That's interesting. And you feel like you can't change it more than you can? Anybody else?
Things always change, just depends on time and circumstance.
So you don't believe at all that it's just going to be whatever it is. You just be patient and things can change. How about over here? Anybody? Strongly agree. I want to hear from the strongly agreed people. Whatever will be, it just is. Whatever it is, it is. Why?
Just let it go. Just go with the flow.
And that's why the principal told me to watch
I'm
after
too tired to change things.
Okay. So just go with the flow.
Go with the flow.
And let it happen.
Unless it's unjust.
Okay.
And then.
And then you went from strongly agree all the way to strongly disagree. That's quite
Unless
elite.
it's unjust. Okay.
All right, so let me go to the next statement. Here it is. This is you speaking. I have been destined for something great.
I think I would be
I have been destined for something great. This is a great. So, is this the disagree wall? Yes. No one's on the disagree wall. It's a beautiful thing. But we do have one neutral. All of you feel that you've been destined for something great. It's rare to see so many people say that. What makes you think you got it going on? Tell me why.
If you can fight for what you believe in, then you always have it going on.
Okay. That's me. Somebody else. Don't be shy. We've known each other 5 minutes. We should be good. You know? Something great. And you guys strongly agree. If you believe that you've been destined for something great, you should at least be able to tell us why. Yes.
I think even a smile at another person is every day that you don't know is great. And so you're destined for greatness, even if you're just getting one exchange that is out of your comfort zone.
And you totally touch on something that I think about. Is it all in how you define greatness, perhaps? Because being destined for something great doesn't necessarily mean you have to be President of the United States, right? But you just touch somebody's life with a smile, and that's great. That's deep. All right, good. Next thing. Oh wait, I have to hear why you're here.
I think everybody has really good days and really bad days, and if you don't actually try for what you're destined for, then you're not going to do anything. So not everybody like achieves like super great things. Like there's a lot of people who don't. Right?
Because they don't try, or because they weren't destined for it?
Both sometimes.
Do you believe in are you saying that you believe in fate? I don't know where
Not really.
But just.
All greatness takes a lot of hard work and trying and sometimes luck, but that's not
All right. Here we go. Here's another one. Every person has a specific purpose. Every person has a specific purpose. Okay. Agree somewhat, disagree somewhat. Yeah, strongly. No one's over here with strongly disagree. And no one's neutral. Please tell us.
You said that you're destined for something. It's you make your own fate. You decide who you want to do. Always.
All right, sounds good. All right.
So
say my parents were doctors. They're not, well, say they wanted me to be a doctor. I don't have to follow the path that they give me that's laid out for me in life, because that's not what I want to do.
Right. And your specific purpose is not necessarily tied in the expectations of other people.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I just kind of think that the expectations of other people don't really have to do with your purpose. I think your purpose is, I don't know, kind of decided by like a greater power almost. I think we're all different for a reason, so there must be something that we all are made to do. And I don't think that matters what other people think we're supposed to do. It's just kind of, I don't know, we all have certain skills.
Isn't it interesting though how sometimes we do allow the opinions of other people though? I mean, you'd be surprised how many people, I want my son to go into family business. And I mean, you have families that are torn apart as a result of those things, and somebody's saying there's something else that's going on the inside of me, and I want an opportunity to do that. So that's interesting. Okay, here's another one. This is you saying, I know my purpose, and I can even express it. I can articulate that purpose. I know what it is, and I can articulate it. I know my purpose, and I can articulate it. Another receiver. Disagree somewhat, agree somewhat. We have quite a few people. Where does disagree somewhat? Where does somewhat disagree? Okay, you're here, and you're strongly. Wow. Okay, and this is strongly agree. This is really interesting.
Why? Does it happen this way often, or?
You know, I haven't asked this question of people at this level. You know, but this is the time to talk about that. I know my purpose, and I can articulate that purpose. And you say, no way. Go ahead here.
Because like most of us are students, so we're still trying to get to like our purpose. Like teachers, like their purpose is to like, help kids, teach them, but we don't know what really can do that.
And in other words, you just don't have a clue right now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's honest. That's honest. Yes.
Even like teachers, like they have like abrupt career changes. Like yeah, like I said before, like time and circumstance.
Well, I'll talk about that. If I don't remember to, Amy?
Yeah.
If I don't remember, remind me, because you talked about that whole changing careers and stuff like that, and I just want to talk a little bit more about that. Okay, what's your name?
Tabby.
Tabby, I'm just going to call you out, because you just stand out to me for some reason. So I want you to tell us why you strongly agree, because that's a powerful thing. You know your purpose and you can articulate. You don't have to tell us what it is if you don't want. Of course you can, but.
I've known what I wanted to do in my life for like a really long time. I don't mind sharing, so I've always wanted to be a singer. Like that's my one goal and purpose in life, and my mom has always been right behind me saying, go for it and do it. So I've always known what I wanted to do.
Do you know how blessed you are that you have somebody who encourages you? From when I was a very young age, I wanted to be an actress. And to me, being a teacher was the second best thing, because you're acting all the time. You know, especially teaching English language arts and, you know, doing the Raising in the Sun with Ms. Farrar's class or whatever. So, but I didn't get that same encouragement. In fact, I was told all my life that I was going to be a teacher. In fact, when I was born, my Aunt Mary apparently said, name her Adrienne because she's going to be a school teacher. I have no idea what being named Adrienne and being a school teacher have, but in her mind, it made perfect sense. But all my life, I was going to be a teacher, and I didn't want to be a teacher. And then it wasn't until after I was done with college and I went undergrad, you know, that I said, this is what I'm called to do. And even though I'm not in the classroom anymore, I still feel that I am a teacher. But I didn't have that encouragement as far as acting was concerned. It was like, you can't do that. And at that time, to be honest with you, my aunt would say to me, one of my aunts would say to me, well, you're black. How are you going to do that? Isn't that a horrible thing to say? To think, to even say it. But that was what she would say. And that was her mind, that was her mindset, just being honest. That, well, how many, of course now, you know, it's more common, but in her mind and where she had come from, that's not practical and your chances of failure are great, so don't. And I remember crying one day because it was something that I loved the idea of being an actress. I now understand that it just wasn't the plan for my life. It wasn't my purpose. But for you, that's what you want, and you've got people encouraging you. Go ahead and sing a little bit for us. Would you do that? Yeah, just sing us a little verse or something.
You can do it.
You need music?
The music is in her
I'll be
head,
back
see?
for you. I'm just kidding. I'm not good.
Somebody give us take us part.
What's my name? You still audition?
I just totally put her on the spot. You know.
She's working it, she's doing it.
She is. You want me to move on and come back? You got a song. The first note's the hardest.
I'll sing with you. We'll be your backup.
Oh, I was just joking. I don't say.
Okay, I'll just sing sleigh bells.
Good, perfect time.
Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the rain, snow's listening. A beautiful sight, we're happy tonight. Walking in a winter wonderland. Gone away, it's a new bird. In the day, it's a new bird. We sing a song as we go along. Walking in a winter wonderland.
Yay!
It's not easy to just do that. It's not easy to just, I'm
Good
gonna
job.
sing around a bunch of people, some of them I don't even know. That's good. You're willing to do that, which shows that you're willing to pursue your dreams. Here's the next statement. Thank you for that. Next one is, I am currently, this is the last one to think, I am currently living my purpose. You're saying, I am currently living my purpose. Agree somewhat, disagree somewhat. Strongly disagree. The neutral girl. And strongly agree. Wow, again, you got quite a brain. Currently living my purpose. Somebody. Yes.
I have chosen to, I'm trying in school, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing to get to the place that I need to be.
Okay, so I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Excellent. Yes, Samantha?
I've always felt like my purpose was to like make the world better and more like peaceful and make everybody more comfortable in the world.
Yes.
And like I like want to share everything like I do with my trampoline club and like I do a lot of things to like make my school better, like a national conference last month to try to make the country better. So I feel like I do a lot of things.
Okay, good. So you're living out what you feel you're supposed to do. That's good. Yes.
My main purpose is to become a doctor to help people, but I'm somewhat living my purpose right now, which is to help people. So so I agree somewhat because
Right.
when I grow older, I want to become a doctor to also heal people.
Right.
So kind of living my
Right, I hear you. Now, you guys don't agree. Hannah, can I call you?
Yeah, well, like I said before, I just don't know this, so I
Right.
can't
You don't know. And you, is it Keegan or Kate?
keep it. That's what I'm thinking too. I don't know what my purpose is yet, so I know if I'm working.
Okay, that's good. That's a very good question. I'm gonna talk a little bit about keys to knowing your purpose too. Everybody know your purpose? Ryan?
15. I should probably start thinking about it now.
Anybody else before we go? Yes, sir.
I think my purpose as a human being is to help other human beings, and I've been joining clubs that help with anti-bullying, you know, stuff like that. So I feel I'm kind of living out my purpose
Absolutely.
a little bit.
You have a great voice.
Thank you.
Any interest in radio?
Yes, people have told me that before.
Very, very strong voice. Okay, good. Have a seat. Thank you. Thank you very much. How long do I?
Can you move that thing so I can sit on it in front of it? Does that move? That, yeah. Oh. I'll switch with you.
I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. I'm
Good.
gonna hold up her hand.
Excellent. You know, obviously you saw the theme of purpose. Talking about purpose. And so I can't really talk about self-actualization or inspiration or motivation or overcoming odds or defying odds if we don't talk about purpose. Because if you don't have a sense of purpose, you don't really have you don't have that fire inside of you to overcome or to dream. You don't even have the strength to pursue a dream. And there is a dream that if it's not there now, there's a dream that will develop within you. And that's important that you nurture that. It's important that you begin to find out, what is my purpose? What is it? And a lot of times it is connected to your dreams. We'll talk about that. But I've always been gripped by the concept of destiny, of purpose. It's one of those things that I think about a lot. Purpose and destiny. And as a teacher, I've often said to students, even as young as 7th grade, how many of you ever thought, what is my purpose in life? And I'm amazed at how many already are wondering, why am I here? You hear that question, why am I here? What is my purpose? Am I supposed to be helping? Am I supposed to be singing and putting a smile on someone's face? What is it? Am I supposed to be a doctor? Am I supposed to tell my family, I know that sounds good that you want me to go in that direction, but I really feel to go in this direction. Am I supposed to say, I know that you think I can't be an actress because of this, that, and the other thing, but maybe, just maybe, there's something in me that you haven't recognized yet. But I'm gripped. And Mark Twain said, the 2 most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. I find that so powerful. So powerful that I'm going to say it again. The 2 most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. That is purpose. And recently, I'm going to tell you again, I taught for almost 18 years. I know this is when you're supposed to say you look too young to have done that, but the older I get, nobody says that anymore. They say, wow, really, you've been teaching that long? Everybody's like, but now everybody's like, yeah, okay, keep on going, right? But I started out, I was 25 years old. I was fresh out of Catskill working with Miss Ferrara, and I was all fired up, and I got the job at Hudson, and I went in there, and it's been wonderful in many ways and very challenging in other ways, but I began to feel pulled away. I knew that I had been called to teach, but I always knew that it would end up outside of the classroom somehow. And in the last several years, I just felt that, and I was like, I gotta go. I felt like I just needed to do something else. And now in this economy, when you're in a job and you've been there that long, and there's tenure, and there are benefits, and you start talking about walking away and I didn't even have a job. And I didn't just leave my job, I left my state. All my family's here in New York. I moved to Missouri, which is where I am now, 19 hours away, and leaving my job. And at the time, I didn't have a job. And here's my advice. You never leave a job unless you have another one, except I knew that it was time. I would never have done it had I not known it was what I was called to do. And I took a huge leap of faith. And it wasn't like I was one of those teachers that the kids hated and they were tormenting me. No, I'm like the mayor in Hudson, okay? They loved me there, okay? Just saying.
I can vouch for that. And they loved you at Catskill.
It was a great, I always had great relations and respect with kids, and yeah, there are kids that drive you up the wall and all that other stuff, and it's frustrating and all that, and you encounter all kinds of students, but it wasn't like I wasn't good at my job and I just need to get out. It wasn't like Common Core kicked me out, although that's enough. Common Core, I call it. Sorry. Sort of. I'm not. But I left, and I have this bracelet on that actually my friend Carthay gave me when I moved, and it says courage. Because it takes courage to do that. It takes courage to walk away from a salary and insurance and benefits and family and step out, because that's what and you know that there were people who looked at me and said, you have to be crazy. Hang in there, get 20 years in, and I was just like, if I didn't know it was time, I'd do that. And other people who said, oh my goodness, I'd do it if I could, but I'm so, I'm afraid. And fear is something that stops us, and whether it's singing, whether it's being a doctor, whether it's going away to college, you're going to have to overcome the odds, you're going to have to deal with fear. If you wait for no fear to do something, you're not going to do anything.
Right.
Do it afraid. Do it afraid. And I remember hearing about the actress Jasmine Guy, and she wanted to try out for Chicago, this Broadway show, and she said, but I'm afraid. And then finally it hit her. She said, okay, be afraid. Be afraid and do Chicago. Who said you couldn't be afraid? Just don't let fear keep you from going after what it is you need to go after. Whether it's standing up to someone, whether it's going for a career, whatever. Whether it's looking yourself in the mirror and saying, I'm good enough. Listen, you have a purpose. And I got a call a few months ago about a former student in Hudson, and I got a message, and she had committed suicide. And I'm thinking, and this was my student, this was, she always had a crazy attitude, but I could always make her smile. Always make her smile. And I said, she did what? And I can't wrap and I cried and I hurt and I thought, you go through those things, if I had still been there. If I had still been there, this would, and I try to wrap my brain around that. And I don't know, like I said, sometimes we get into a setting like this and everybody looks so nice and smells so good and all that, and we don't know what people are going through. We don't know their story. We don't know the people who've got issues in their families, or the parents are going through a divorce, or they're going back and forth between parents, or they think they're not skinny enough, or they think they're too skinny, or I got boyfriend problems, or I ain't got no boyfriend, or whatever the case may be. Whatever the issue is, but enough about me. No. Anyway. But whatever it is, sometimes we never know. And I thought, I couldn't wrap my brain. I said, what? She couldn't find any hope. And that's why I believe that we have got to invest in you guys and tell you that you can overcome odds. That it's never so bad that there's no hope. And I said, did nobody tell her that? Did nobody say that to her? That there's hope. That you have a purpose. Because when you know that there's a purpose, you don't let your life be defined by this single moment.
Right.
You're everything. Even hard times, bad times, good times, it's all in the makeup of who you are. But you gotta stick around long enough to see it through. Somebody said it takes time. Was it Amy? Where's Amy? Amy, didn't you say something about time? It's not about whether or not you have a purpose. It's about whether you're willing to take the time to see it through, to walk it out, and not give up. Don't be wimps. And all that, I heard a couple anti-bullying things, and this is something I've always said. I applaud those efforts, but I have said for a few years now that we need to spend more time. Yes, we need to deal with bullying. Yes, those people who are bullying need to be dealt with sternly and swiftly. It should not be tolerated. But you know what? Bullying continues. And we need to spend more time telling young people, what do you do when you do get bullied? Are you hearing me? Yes?
Yes.
It would be great to get rid of it all. But folks are just mean. Some of y'all probably mean, right? But sometimes people are they're hurting people, hurt other people. And sometimes they hurt or they're insecure. And we can't be going around killing ourselves just because somebody didn't like you. And I'm not saying that people who do commit suicide and stuff like that, because you know what? Many of us know people who have, and our heart breaks, But you've got to be able to see, I've got a purpose. And I'm not going to let this moment, even this family situation, even the hurt define. I have to overcome my odds because I am going to fulfill my purpose. Suicide and giving up, not an option. And one of the ways to overcome odds in your life, for those of you who got goals, one of the ways is not to compare yourself with other people. Because one of two things will happen when you compare yourself to others. One, you'll get a big head and think you're all that in a bad way. Or two, you'll feel insecure and insignificant. Stop comparing yourself. Be the unique person that you were intended to be. And you will become, do the good, the bad, all that, you will become a product of all of it. Take raw, bitter chocolate, throw it in your mouth. Nasty. Gross. Take a raw egg and crack it and just swallow it by itself. Nasty. Some flour, throw it in your mouth and just chew it up. You take that and some other ingredients, and you mix that up, and put it in the oven, you get chocolate cake. So even all the bad experiences and the good experiences, that sugar goes up. And you mix it up and put it in the heat, put it in the fire, it'll come out with something good. But you gotta hang on, as Amy said, long enough to enjoy the cake. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
All right, thank you. Now, everything has a purpose. What time is it? You let me know, right? Everything has a purpose. You know how I know everything? Everything. Look around the room. Everything has a purpose. And the reason why I know it has a purpose is because it was created. It was created. Everything. So even if nobody else sees it, if I'm looking at something here and I'm like, what the heck is that? Somebody said, I'm going to create this. Right? Therefore, it's going to serve a purpose. I know you have a purpose because you're here. Right? You're here. Everything that you see has a purpose because its vibration is here. And in the hands of the Creator, it can fulfill its purpose. A hammer doesn't look like, if you don't know it's a hammer, you can do all kinds of stuff with it. You can use it for different things, but put it in the hands of the one who created it, and it fulfills its purpose. It's not just making do. So here are some keys, and I'm going to give you 3 keys to determining your purpose. Are you ready? And for those of you who say, I have no clue, yeah, that's okay. But I want to give you a couple thoughts, and then we're going to wrap this thing up. Number 1, what excites you? That's very often a key to what your dream is. That dream, what is your passion? What excites you? Can you raise your hand, and you don't have to tell me what it is, but can you raise your hand and say, I can think of something I'm passionate about? Very often, that's a clue to what your purpose is. Your dream, your purpose. Here's key number 2. This is the one, Toyota. What annoys you? And they seem like completely opposite things. Like, how can it be what I love and what I hate? And I remember there were things that would just tick me off. Didn't seem to bother nobody else. Nobody else even noticed it. I have friends that can probably vouch for that. Right? But it would bother me when I saw it. It would like those of you who are like, I can't stand injustice. Or whatever it is. And nobody else seems to even notice. And nobody else seems to. But it irks you. Maybe that's your purpose because you perhaps should be doing what? Making a change. Maybe you've been destined to change the very thing that drives you nuts. Maybe that's why it drives you nuts. And it doesn't drive your neighbor nuts because that's not your neighbor's purpose. They're working on something else. So what is it that excites you? What is it that motivates you? What is it that fires you up? And if you don't have it yet, just wait. It'll come because you have a purpose. How do I know? Because you're here. And you're not here by accident. Are you hearing me? Does this make sense?
Yes.
I hope so. So what excites you? What annoys you? And also listen to what others recognize within you. People you trust. You can't listen to everybody. Because not everybody has your best interest at heart. But there are people in your life. Some teachers, some are parents, some of them are whatever, mentors. Some is the church, some community organization, whatever. There are some people that see things in you. And like I said, you, is it Fabby?
Yeah.
There was something about you when you walked in. Just, you're glowing, I don't know. But there, even as a teacher, Ms. Farrar, you probably understand that too. There were always sometimes students, you love them all, but then there were just some that for whatever reason, and it could be the baddest things up in there too. But there's something that just shines out, you just, I don't know. Is it just me? It's me?
Here was one.
Oh.
Yes.
She was bad.
No, I was not bad.
Pass the bone.
I was the shining one.
Yeah, she was.
Full of spoken promise, and she still is.
Yes. But but everyone has that some. So there are people that you have to allow. The people who don't get anywhere are people who can never receive instruction or correction. You have to have somebody in your life that holds what I heard somebody call the shut up card. You don't need just people who go, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You're like, let me tell you about some stuff. He made me sick, and he did this, and you're all negative, and then you got those, oh yeah, girl, I know what you mean. You should be mad. Get him. You're always gonna find those, and then, but then you meet sometimes that person that looks at you and says, you know what? Stop. You're wrong. Or, you know what? You're speaking negative things about your life. There's more. There's hope. Because the people who commit, you know, like the girl who commits suicide, the student, I'm like, did she not have anybody maybe along the way? I don't know. Maybe she did. I don't know the circumstances, but I wish that there was somebody there at that moment say, oh, hang in there. Hang in there. You know, overcome those odds. I'll walk with you through it. So, but listen to other people. Sometimes a teacher will say, oh, I see this in you. Oh, you're a good writer. Oh, you're a good, oh, you got a radio voice. Whatever. Sometimes those are clues to what your purpose is also. Now, as I'm wrapping up, I want to give you this. I asked all of you if you were living your purpose, if you are already living your purpose, and we had all range of whatever. And I want you to think of you ever see someone pregnant? Everybody seen a pregnant woman before? And to me, that represents where we are as far as the process of fulfilling our purpose, of self-actualization, of all that. That pregnant woman, at first, when she's pregnant, she doesn't even know she's pregnant. There are no outward signs at all, right? And so, that still doesn't change the fact that she's pregnant. She's carrying a promise. She just doesn't know it yet, right? And then they go to the doctor, and we act like she got pregnant the day the doctor told her she was pregnant. She was already pregnant. Just couldn't see the signs yet. She didn't feel anything yet. It didn't look like anything yet, but she was still pregnant with that promise. You see where I'm going? I hope. She's still pregnant, just at the beginning stages, right? It's there. And we've got people all around. You're looking at people here are pregnant with promise, with your potential, with your dreams, with your purpose. You're carrying it. Many of you don't even realize it. Already. I could have just let Amy do the teaching today because she said it when she said, it just takes time. It's the same thing. The woman can't say, well, doctor, I ain't pregnant. You know, where's the baby? Can't even see the baby. And sometimes you just need somebody to say, that doctor comes and that doctor speaks life. And as soon as the doctor says yes, or the pregnancy test says yes, something comes on, and all of a sudden, it's like life comes. You already pregnant. You just didn't know. And then it's funny how people change once you know. That's why we do these things. Things change. Once you know, all of a sudden, the husband's like, oh, don't pick that up, baby. Let me carry that for you. Or she's saying, I ain't doing that. I'm pregnant. Dishes tonight. Right? Because now she realizes, and it causes her to act differently. And when she realizes she's pregnant, it causes other people to treat her differently. Because she knows what she has on the inside. So she carries herself different. I'm telling you that when you realize that you have purpose in your life, you walk differently. I walk down the hall with students and I've seen them walking like this, and I'll say, hold your head up. Because when you know who you are, you walk differently. You talk differently. Other people treat you differently. Because it's easy to treat people bad who don't recognize their own value. That's why we have so much abuse that goes on. You submit yourself to it because you don't think you deserve any better. Right? Mm-hmm. Yes. 5 minutes. Oh, okay. It's 9 minutes. Okay. So, things change when you realize what's on the inside of you. And so that's the stage. First, she doesn't know she's pregnant. Then she finds out. It's like somebody spoke life, and other people know, and they treat you differently, and you know, and you act differently. And then, after a while, she begins to experience the signs of the pregnancy. She begins to realize, feel things, and things move on. All of a sudden, it's like, yeah, all right, I'm with this. I see, I feel. There are signs of it. And then other people begin to wonder. And sometimes you don't want to ask, because you just, you don't want to, is she pregnant? You just, best not to ask. Ask somebody else. But all of a sudden there comes a point where you can't deny the fact that she's carrying, because there it is. And so it is with you in your life. There comes a point where people can't deny. They can't help but see it. Some are going to like you for it, and some are not going to like you for it. How many of you know that when you start to live your purpose and start to do what's right, not everybody's going to applaud you. Not everybody's going to say, oh yeah, go for it. But there will be some who will. There will be some. So they start to notice as well. And then nobody can, and then the baby shows up. The purpose, the dream, all along was to deliver the baby. But there was a process. And that process involves overcoming obstacles. The morning sickness obstacle was purpose. The swollen legs obstacle was purpose. The contractions obstacle was purpose. The pushing obstacle was purpose. The baby was the dream. The baby was the there. But all the obstacles were part of the process to get you there. And you can't just skip it, unfortunately. I wish we could. You know, I grew up, I was in the Bronx, and my mom wasn't there all the time, and my sister and I were knocking on doors trying to get food from neighbors, and that whole, I'll spare you all those details, but there were times as a little kid, I'm 4 years old, 5 years old, I remember eating ketchup sandwiches, just trying to, or knocking on, eat peanut butter out of a jar. It didn't look good. You know, in the Bronx, in the projects, it wasn't. And you know what? There was always something on the inside of me. I knew I was destined for something greater. And so I'm saying the same thing to you guys. You are pregnant with purpose. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your name is. I don't care if you're up on the mountain right now, and I don't care if you're in the valley. Everybody's got a story. And if you're not going through any obstacles right now, just keep living. They're coming. But you're bigger than they are. You gotta believe it. And I'm done. I'm done. Now go change the world. All right. Thank you.